Domain to Profit. Today you're going to get echoes because this room is not very soundproof, so hopefully it's tolerable. But I am at a WeWork today up in Columbus, Ohio, and wow, that's really, does that come through the mic? Does that come through the mic? Yeah. Okay, well, we'll see how I can do the energy while I'm hearing myself a little bit. I managed to set all this stuff up, and if you look over on Twitter, I show you the setup. I set this up in less than 15 minutes, which I'm kind of proud of myself. So there's that. So welcome, everybody. If you're watching this on Restream, live is the way to watch Domain to Profit, because each week we come together and it's a live show looking through the domain names that are expiring this week. So if you watch this later, chances are some of the domain names are going to be gone, some of those opportunities. And as you see back here on the screen from the domaintoprofit.com website, this live show can change your life. Just like domain names have changed my life, they can change your life as well. And right here on this live stream, we find opportunities that you, yes, you can participate in. You can buy the domain names that we're going to look at. Even if they're freaking phenomenal domain names, you can buy them at auction. So everybody's on the same page, we're all in the same boat, and then it just turns into an auction competitive. So this is Domain to Profit. I am Drew Wash. If you have not, please make sure you hit the subscribe button, like this video, say hi in the chat, because you can see the chat is live and it is happening with lots of people that are also domain developers, people looking for opportunities. So there's lots of great people in here. That's why we do this live. See you on the other side.
From domain to profit, from a .com to a business idea. Take it domain to profit, join our shen. Get started right now.
Okay, well, we'll see how the tech goes. I've not seen too many complaints or anything happening, so that is good. And yes, I saw Lee was popping in even before 3 o'clock. He's making sure he's getting this right here. Boom, he is first. He is first. And hello, DTPers. That might work. That might work. I like domain developers. Michael, nice to see you on here. Mr. Scottsdale, nice to have you here. Matt as well. And I got some lag coming in. Hopefully it doesn't show up too much in the stream. And I made it on time, I think. So Matt, B. Atkins, welcome. Nice to have you here. And let me see. Stuart, see you as well. Thank you all for coming. Thank you all for hanging out with me. Thank you for all for having the same passion as me for domain names. We're a rare breed, a very rare breed. Now, we are a rare breed in the matter of we value domain names and know the importance of domain names, but like in the heart of everyone out there, they know the importance of domain names. All the time, I'll be in a casual conversation with somebody, bar, or just walking around, whatever it is. I'll have a casual conversation with somebody, and they'll be talking, and they'll ask me what I do, and I get all, it's hard to explain what it is that I do. I develop domain names. What the heck's that all about? Blah blah blah. But then they'll, ask them what they do, and then they'll be like, "Oh, I was a bartender or run a bar." And it's like, "Oh, well, I own bartenders.com." And suddenly, like, their eyes light up, their brain explodes. So everybody knows that domain names matter. What we talk about here on the show is the fact that they matter to all of us, not just in your specific arena of life, which is why we do this show, looking for opportunities, looking for domain names that we can all agree could be just phenomenal developments, phenomenal businesses that you can use to, generate an income, whether it's $500 a month, $1,000 a month, thousands a month, or turn it into a full enterprise like we have with towing.com that employs many and helps thousands of towing companies on the internet. So whatever it is that you're looking to do, domain names can likely help you. So, okay, well, let's dive in. So here's how the show works. If you're new to the show, we spend a lot of time over here. Well, not actually on that one. Let me get to the right site. we spend a lot of time here. Expireddomains.net is where we look through domain names. So expireddomains.net and the expireddomains.net/filters is where you will find the filters that we use to take what is like 500,000 domain names that are going to expire over the next week. And we filter and condense all those down to what you'll see here, 86,280 domain names, which hopefully that's showing up because, yeah, we'll see. Okay, I see some lag on some of the screens and things. Well, we'll just go with it. Okay, well, so what we're going to do is we just start at the top. So one of the things you need to do once you set up your filters, hit this valuation. The valuation is what we order by. It's not a number that actually tells you how much a domain name's worth. It's just a guesstimate. It's just kind of like GoDaddy. They go and they just apply some past data and take a guess at the how much a domain name's worth. You'll see that that doesn't really impact the price. In fact, you will go broke really quick if you base your decisions on that. So we're going to start at the top and look through some domain names. We'll get through a couple hundred today. I don't look at these. This is live. This is me seeing these typically for the first time. So we'll find out which ones are good, which ones are bad. If you see domain names that you love, you can shout them out in the chat. Be one of the eyes and ears that are looking through the domain names with me, as well as you can keep it to yourself if you want to. I tend to share everything, obviously, but you know how it goes. myaccounts.com. I do, as you probably, I go on rants on this every once in a while. I do like the word my for as far as domain names. Sometimes you'll see expensive domain names come up where it would be like youraccounts.com. And your intuition, because you're reading it, you might think your sounds great. That sounds great. Except for we take possession over the domain name as a user, and it should say my. So my is more valuable than you almost every time. So that's the reason why my accounts is the most valuable domain name according to GoDaddy this week. I do like it, not 100% sure what I would do with it. You could probably put together something where you monitor all your credit cards, bank accounts, but as you can hear, if you're messing with financial systems and all that stuff, that sounds horrible. That sounds complicated. And domain development is not about complications. It is about simplicity. Simple businesses on domain names. Let the domain name tell you what it should be on that domain name. And if you want a big, large SaaS project, software as a service, sure, go for my accounts. But I think we'll find something else that will be able to give you the lifetime that you're looking for. So delineate, ooh, you can get that and impress people with your vocabulary. Riveter. Local sex. I mean, I don't deal with adult domain names, but maybe that's something good. Grid work, travel day. I do like, let me go back up to localmotors.com. We'll make this first domain name that we do a deep dive in. Deep dive is about a 3 to 5 minute look at how we can use this domain name to generate a business, generate an income. And this one is already pretty high price. We're already up over $8,500 over on GoDaddy auctions. Let's zoom out here. Let me look at, so you'll see here's one way that you can tell that GoDaddy's appraisals don't really matter. That number, this appraised at 7,100, 8,500, and I'm guessing localmotors.com is going to end up going for even significantly higher than that. And let's go look at a little bit of the data that will tell us why it will go for so much more. So I'm going to type in local motors. So what we use here is this is spyfu.com. So spyfu.com. And this is a tool that you can have free access to. I do have a paid account here that I use. And what this does is it allows us to see the search volume for a keyword. So we take the domain name that we're looking for, we drop the .com, we just pitch it out, and it does need to be .com. And then we just put those words in here as if it's a keyword. It's called an exact match domain name, exact match keyword domain name. And you'll see here right off the bat, 3,400 searches for local motors, which that's a pretty good number. We don't see numbers at 1,000 or higher very often. But when we do, we need to go down here and look at this bottom part, which I am already noticing this kills this domain name. So there's lots of people out there paying a lot of money for this domain name, but look at this. There's no advertisers, 0 advertisers according to SpyFu, and the ones that are there, the people that do advertise, they're paying almost nothing to target this keyword. Why is that? I don't know. But here's what I highly recommend that you do. Don't argue with the data. If you argue with the data, you will find yourself broke. And I don't want you to go broke. I want you to be successful and be able to make some money from these domain names. So if I think of local motors, I'm thinking of probably car dealerships, maybe auto repair companies. Not really. Let's look at some of the keywords. Let's see what other people think about local motors. So this middle section here is going to show us the other keywords. So you'll see local motors 3,400, local motors rally fighter, not sure what that is. Local motors David oil, like these don't make any sense to me. If they make sense to you, maybe you'll know more than me. Ultimately, I am not seeing much here that makes me see this domain name and go, oh, here's what should go on it. So honestly, let's just bypass this domain name. I'm going to skip over it. It is a good domain name, probably worth investing in if you had something to do with local motors, motor companies, local customization of automobiles or something like that. You could probably do something like that. But as far as domain development goes, where we are looking for domain names to start a business on, we don't necessarily come to it with an agenda. That one's going to be not a high rank. I think it's already overpriced for domain development. Let me just put it that way. I would not pay $80,000 or $8,000 for it. I would have probably put that one in the $1,200 range. So we're going to move on. In fact, I would probably prefer King Car over local motors. Nah, maybe not. Webventure, that sounds pretty good. Let's check that one out. So webventure.com, moving on to the next one here. And just want to click on, I don't know if this will show up. Let's find out. Matt mentioned that local motors seem bad search engine wise, seems like completely a business name. Yeah, exactly. So local motors, I just so happen to be in the WeWork here in Columbus, Ohio, and across the street is a historical building. I think it's called like the Walter Motor Company or something like that. So back in the day when maybe car companies were smaller companies and things, probably would have been a great domain name, but now it's not. So let's see, Webventure, I like it. It's more of a brandable domain name, meaning when I hear Webventure, I don't think of something specific. Like I think of, well, venture capital, web venture businesses, like money into a web business. But what the heck does that look like? It's not specific enough, but we can look at it a little bit more. Ends in 2 days, $1,100 currently. Let's go type it into SpyFu. Webventure, is it plural or singular? Webventure singular. And it disappeared, so I must have hit something wrong. Webventure. All right, again. Here we go, lesson 20. Hey, Webventure Cincinnati, that's interesting. In Columbus and Cincinnati stuff shows up. It looks like it's a brand. There's only one advertiser, not really much happening with it. So when we look at domain names, there's 2 different ways that it could be. It could be a venture, a brandable type domain name. You'll hear me say that quite often. Brandable just means it's vacant real estate. It's real estate that maybe sounds pretty good, but it's not actually painting a picture of what that domain name should have on it. For example, when you hear, towing.com, what do you expect to have on it? Well, probably towing services, towing products, things to do with towing, right? Like it tells you what should be on that domain name. Webventures and some of these other ones that we'll see, they're brandable. So they sound good. They sound memorable. They paint like a vague picture that you as a developer could build a business on and define what that picture is. But we want a domain name that tells us what the picture is. The clearer, the better. We don't want to have to think. We don't want our users to think. So we're going to move on from Webventure.com. So good domain names, but not really catching much as far as domain development. Cannabis Daily, sure, maybe a blog, but that's not the kind of domain name. Again, you're talking very much a brandable type domain name. Wasted Space. I like it from a marketing standpoint. I could see lots of people. I love phrases when I think of like brandable or marketing domain names that people say a lot, right? We say, oh, that's wasted space. Oh, that room over there is wasted space. So when you see a phrase that people say a lot, well, what are they referring to? Well, they're maybe referring to something that a remodel company would be interested in, or a closet company, or something like that. But it doesn't actually say what that domain name should have on it. So it's great for marketing, great for possibly investment. So buying for the purpose of reselling. But as far as development, not so much, not so much. Hack the future, predictive marketing. They sound pretty. They sound pretty. They sound good, but again, the brandable domains. And you'll see that a lot. The more as a developer, as a domain developer, the more you can skip on brandable type domain names, the better off you're going to be. Once we find one that is, here we go. Let's go with this one here. Let's see about stopanxiety.com. Okay, stopanxiety.com ends tomorrow, $250 currently. And I have a feeling we're going to see some big numbers here. Let's find out. I can spell anxiety, that is. Okay, maybe not giant numbers, but this is a great teaching opportunity. This is a great domain name for development. I'm going to show you exactly why with this. So what we have here is we have Stop Anxiety. This middle section here, so you'll see 180 searches for the keyword Stop Anxiety. Not a lot, right? You're thinking, no big deal. That's a small number. Small numbers can sometimes add up to big profits. But over here in the middle, you'll see why domain names can be really phenomenal, really spectacular. How to Stop Anxiety. What would you find as a better domain name? HowToStopAnxiety.com or StopAnxiety.com? Yeah, StopAnxiety.com. I would much rather have the shorter version. You can always have a great section of your website that talks about tricks, products, services to how to stop anxiety. You can target that bigger keyword. So you want this 2,900 visitors, you want access to that, create great content on stopanxiety.com for how to stop anxiety. How to stop an anxiety attack, boom, same thing. Stop anxiety is part of that phrase. So that gives you an opportunity to reach another couple thousand people. So we're just stacking on keywords that we can target with our domain name. Ideally, we want the best possible domain name. Anxiety.com might be a better domain name, maybe not. I'm not 100% sure. I mean, anxiety.com is definitely a better domain name, but for the purpose of stopping anxiety, I think I like Stop Anxiety. I also like it ends in Y, so that we don't have Stop Anxieties. That would be a really difficult word to put in a domain. Stop Anxiety is the better version of it. So let's go down and see if there's any money happening down here. So we have 4 advertisers. So I like to see double-digit advertisers. I want to see 10 or more advertisers. And then I want to see this cost per click amount to be $2 or higher. So it gets some strikes against it for those reasons. There's not much competitive bidding happening in the auctions. And, well, that's why I want to skip out on it. Over here, we use this third column, the questions and answers. Well, the questions, these are the questions that people are asking Google. So those questions, what is it, right above me here? Yep, right above me, you'll find that there are the questions that people are asking into Google. Answer them. That's the content for your web page. You answer them, or the therapists and doctors, product services that are paying you to be on your site can answer them. And again, it's one way to get additional traffic for your domain name. You don't have to be an anxiety expert. Well, there we go. So improve you, that's kind of an example of why I would much rather have improve me or something along that line. Improve you, it sounds good when it's in a commercial, but once you type it in, you are typing the word you, which is sending things out versus taking it in as for yourself. So we'll skip out on that one, but that's a pretty good example of that one. It's a good domain name though. It's still a good domain name, just not worth messing with for development, unless it's for a blog or a content type thing. Business Society, I actually kind of like this one a little bit. Let's check it out. So one of the things that domain names are really good at are creating communities. It's one of the things that we consider what we do with all of our domain names, actually, towing.com, bartenders.com, djs.com, photobooths.com. Some of the great domain names that we have are communities. We bring together people in those industries. So Business Society is a little bit of a generic community, but a community nonetheless. So want to start a, what is it, the Illuminati? You want to start a Illuminati conspiracy theory type thing, create your own business society on businesssociety.com. Not entirely sure what the heck you would make money from. Let's go see though. Let's go find out. I feel like I'm being challenged on my spelling here, but these are some tough domains. Okay, 135 searches, 0 advertisers. So we know that we want to skip out on this domain name from a domain development purpose. Not really seeing any, how did the wealthy business leaders, yeah, we're just going to skip out on this one. So possibly an investable one, but so by investable, I mean, you can buy it to sell it, buy it to play with it, whatever else, but it doesn't paint a picture of what we want to put on it. So I'm going to skip out on it. Future holdings. These are good domains, but they're not, we want perfect domain names for development. And when we find one, when we see it, you're going to be like, oh yeah, that makes so much more sense. I mean, Hawaiian Property, you can possibly put together, that's this one up here, just a quick business idea off of that one. Well, let's click on it. I won't put it in through SpyFu, but HawaiianProperty.com is a pretty good example of a developable domain name. So what would you expect? And it's $12. So let me give you the warning that I give every time I see one that's cheap. Do not bid on this domain name until 5 minutes, 10 seconds left in the auction, because otherwise you're going to alert the sharks to this domain name. If you bid on this right now, there will be more bidders happening right away. It's just the nature of domain name auctions. Let's actually dive into this one. Maybe we found a bargain one. I'm going to skip over it, but we've had so many that have not worked out. I'm not going to attempt to spell. Oh, is it spelled poor? Is it spelled wrong? No, I think that's right. We'll find out here in a second. Hawaiian Properties. Hawaiian Property. 0 money, 0 advertisers. There's a little bit of traffic. So I'm going to skip over Hawaiian Properties. I'm not seeing much happening with the domain name, but here's one of the things to think with that domain name. What does this domain name tell you is on that domain? Hawaiian Properties. I don't know if Hawaiian is the right way, but I don't know if that's how you would say that or not. I'm obviously not an islander. I burn in the sun. So let's see here, HawaiianProperty.com. I would expect it to be properties for sale, for lease. It can be a real estate company in Hawaii. So pretty good domain name. It just so happens to turn out it was not very good. So back to the list. Yep, and Matt is bringing up a good point. He is mentioning the fact that one of the flaws with expireddomains.net, not really a flaw, but one of the things with expireddomains.net and any website that's analyzing data like this, it's guessing at the words that are part of a domain name. So you'll see here what he's saying is legal port, they changed it to well, whatever leg Alport is. So sometimes you do have to, if you're really going through this list with a fine tooth comb or whatever, like if you're really looking for great domains, make sure you're kind of playing with the letters and seeing if there are better arrangements. We see it pretty frequently where they put the wrong words into the thing. They highlight it, they proper case, or was that camel case? So they run gun. Who knows? That could be run gun. It could be one word. It's not, but you know, I think you see what I'm saying. Hopefully you see what I'm saying. Growth funding. You know, that really is a simple domain. Beauty by design, emotional leadership. Come on. Come on. Come on, expired domains. Give us something. Limo shop. I want something better. Want something better. VIP customer. Let's see what's happening with that one. I don't know. Like I'm thinking, okay, this ends in 2 days. VIP customer, certainly something we've all said or heard, even if it's not true. All those big businesses out there telling us that we're very important customers to them. Whatever. Okay, VIP customer. 90 searches for VIP customer. 0 advertisers. 0 cost per click. But VIP customer, so what's a business you can put on that? I could see this being a rewards type website where you set up VIPcustomer.com, you put it on cards, and you go to small businesses and help them put together like punch cards, but it's all on the mobile app or something like that. So that way small businesses can treat all their customers as if they're VIP customers and create a profile with, you know, their buying history and points and rewards and things like that. It'd be an elaborate SaaS, but that's a pretty good brand for it though. VIPcustomer.com. I could see that happening. I like it. Not really seeing much as far as similar keywords, how to get VIP customers on my restaurant. Metro PCS. Okay. Not seeing a ton of good keywords or anything, but it's a pretty good brand that I could see a fun build out project happening with it. And again, VIP projects or VIPcustomer.com ending in 2 days, $74 currently. I could see that one going for $800, $900, even up a little over $1,000 potentially. Hopefully, if you can get it for a couple hundred though, it might be worth something. Might be worth developing out on a little small project. In fact, I'm guessing I just added to my wish list. I might even bid on that a little bit. I might put a couple $100 into it if nobody else does. With all the domain names, unless it's one that I'm just going hard at, feel free to DM me if you're interested in a domain name. If I will tell you if I'm interested in a domain name. If I say I'm interested in it, that does not like that's not me claiming it. Like that's not how this show works. That is me just letting you know that I'm interested in the domain name. But if you are a domain developer, and so let me go big screen on this one here for a second. If you are a domain developer and you are interested in one of the domain names that I ever highlight, please reach out to me over on Twitter. Let me know that you're going to go for a domain name. I will either let you know the price that I'm looking to spend on a domain name. We can, you can know before you have to put any money into it or whatever else. I'm very open. I have plenty of domain names. I don't need necessarily more unless they are perfect domain names for our business model. And in that case, I'm going to pay a lot for a domain name. You'll see it every once in a while here. So just letting you know, I'm a friendly competitor. Okay, here we go. Back at it. Packaged party. A party package would probably be a pretty good one. Party idea? Ooh, I like that one. And I'm guessing, Matt, you're talking the NFT project. Oh my gosh, I'm just clicking all over the place here. This computer is going so slow. So the NFT project that you're referring to, I am guessing you're talking about businesssociety.com, which I agree. I thought that was one of the first things I thought was that would be a good NFT project. Partyidea.com ends in 6 days, $12 currently. Wait to bid. Do not bid on this yet. If you bid on it, you're going to attract the sharks. So let's go check this out. I'm expecting big numbers. This is a good domain name. So partyidea.com, this is shocking, but this is beautiful. This is great. Like, this is exactly what we're looking for, the domain name. What do you expect to find on partyidea.com? Party ideas, right? Again, people are searching like crazy. Bachelorette party ideas, bachelor party ideas, birthday party ideas. So you can see there's lots of big keywords for you to target. You can target these keywords in the middle here. We're talking thousands. Is it the perfect domain? I would probably say party ideas with an S would be better. But if you can get this for cheap, which I get pretty much, I will take it up to 688. Just off the top of my head, I'm guessing I will. I won't say that for certain, but I'm thinking right around 688 is what I would value this one at. I don't like this though. $1 per click. We're not seeing any home runs here, 0 advertisers, but here's what I like about it. Access to all these keywords here. That's what we're going for. We want access to those keywords. And if you call up a party store, event planners, things like that, and you're like, hey, I own partyidea.com, would you be interested in advertising? They're not going to like block you. They're not going to just like assume that you're just like some guy calling from some garbage publication. If you own partyidea.com, it is going to be your key, your access to people that you might not have access to without it. It gives you the validation. It gives you the authority, which are two of the key pieces to finding a great domain name for development. So even though the numbers don't show us how great of a domain name this is, just ask yourself, does this domain name give me access to somebody? And here's the beauty of it. It ends in 6 days. You have time. You can even call some places, some event places, and be like, hey, I'm looking to develop out partyidea.com, and I just was wondering if you would be interested in advertising. Just see what the conversation goes like. Don't worry, you're not going to give away your idea. Chances are they're not even going to go type it into the search engine. I mean, they might though, so you might want to mix it up a little bit. But I do love Party Idea. It's going to get a star, and it's going to be added to the watch list. Again, you do not want to bid on that until as late as possible. Bid as late as possible. Partyidea.com, that's great, man, great. Okay, visual projects, I like it, not a bad domain name, but going to keep on moving, converting solutions. Ideal Performance, a pretty good domain name as far as for brand. You've probably heard people say that kind of thing. Oh, what's the Ideal Performance? Reward Games? Golden Slipper, fit shirts. These are some weird domains. The further we go down, the more we'll have to look. So, and the further you go down the list, so on the show, we're going to go through a couple hundred domain names. The thing is, keep going. While we do this show for an hour, if you spend 6 hours, you will get down to domain names that the appraisal tool is going to tell you are worth $1,000. And I will tell you, mixed in with those $1,000, $1,200 domain names are going to be great domain names. I pick them up all the time. I pick up $12 domain names. I mean, maybe not all the time, but pretty frequently. You can find them. I just don't bid on a lot of them anymore. I kind of leave them for others. Sound editing. I like it. Let's go dive into it a little bit. So a lot of times if there's one that I'm not 100% sure about, like this one's kind of a nice generic domain name, I don't want to make a mistake and, it could be bigger than what I think. I don't know anything about sound editing. I don't even know if that's what they call it, but I do know that it could be big. It does have 900 exact match searches. We do have mixed results down here. We have 4 advertisers, so there are people that are paying, and they're paying a few dollars per click. And I do like up here sound editing software. So You can create a directory for sound editing software and then charge them a monthly fee or something to list their software. They can be featured, show banner ads, whatever you want to do. I typically don't like banner ads, but you could do it. Free sound effects. Yeah, so see all these keywords. Anytime, let me just do this. Hopefully this shows up. If you do your domain name, so all I did was Control F on my browser, and this is highlighting the words sound editing. So that's the domain name, soundediting.com is the keyword we're looking for. Boom, sound editing software, 2,200. Free sound editing software, 1,000. Sound editing, 900. Adobe sound editing, 840. Sound editing versus, like, you can see what is happening here. Best sound editing. Then over here, so you're seeing the domain name pop up in these different keywords. Are they all home runs? Absolutely not. In most cases, they're going to be junk, but sometimes you can see a path forward for this domain name. So all we're looking to do, we're looking to find a domain name that has hope, it paints a picture, provides some authority to where if we call people or send out like a solicitation, they see it and they don't just go, spam, which if you look to your spam, what do the spammers use for domain names? I get spam all the time. I got .email domain names, .info, all these garbage domain names. If you got an email from soundediting.com and you are a sound editing studio or something like that, do you think you're going to open it? Do you think it matters to you a little bit? Yes. The answer is yes, it does. That's what we're going for. That's validation and authority. I like soundediting.com. $22 currently, ends in 4 days. That is going on the watch list. I would probably say for me, that domain name's in the vicinity of $688, which that's kind of my, I like it a little bit price, or I like it a good amount price, but I'm not going all in on it. If you go all in on that domain name, say you're a sound editor or you already do stuff with audio, who knows? It could be worth well more than that. I don't know if I'll bid on it or not. I'll just make sure to keep it honest and keep it, I'll probably bid like 188. I don't know. We'll see. I'm postponing that decision. Again, if you like it, if you work in sound, you want to do something with it, make sure you can reach out. You don't have to reach out. I don't worry. If you bid against me, that's perfectly fine. I want you to win. I want others to win. I'll just save us both time if you reach out. Which, who knows? People have been asking me to set up a Discord for this show, for this purpose of domain development. I hate Discord, but we may end up doing it, and maybe we can start to reach out and kind of correspond through that. Okay, well, we're through our first 200 domain names, and that means we are at the turn. We are at the turn so far. So we have, so we've done soundediting.com. That one's going to end in 4 days. Only $22, so that one's a pretty good one. I do like sound editing. You can do sound editors near me and things like that, and all those other keywords we already saw. Got partyidea.com, 6 days left on that one. VIPcustomer.com, ending in 2 days, $74 currently. Hawaiian Property, wasn't a big fan of it, but $12 could be worth something to maybe somebody that's just wanting to try this for the first time. Maybe you live in Hawaii and you're like, maybe not. Maybe you know better if you live in Hawaii. BusinessSociety.com, which, as Matt in the chat mentioned, could be a possible NFT project or something, because realistically, there's not really a business society unless you're just kind of trying to scam people or something like that. Anyhow, I do love the domain name StopAnxiety.com. I think it's probably the best one so far. I like StopAnxiety.com. You can put together a directory of products, trainings, a bunch of different things. Anxiety is rampant. I know so many people who suffer from anxiety, and I certainly have even my own anxieties at times where I'm like, oh my gosh. Okay. And let me see, Webventure.com is another one that we've talked about. Local Motors, which was $8,500, we talked about as well, skipping over. And we are going to move on to page 2. That's kind of the summary of the first half of the show. 40 minutes in, we'll see how far we can get in through the next phase of the show. Let me just check in with chat. And first of all, I see Ian's message here. So let me put that up on the screen, which is this. This is my perspective as well. I hate Discord. I don't like it. I don't want to use it, but it's free and a lot of people are on there already. I'm looking to possibly set up other, like a Mighty network, if you've ever looked at that, or a tribe or something like that. I want to set something up to where we can all communicate and we can put together tutorials and best practices that we've all learned in domain development all in one place. I prefer it not to be on Discords because I hold the same opinion as Ian here. Discord's terrible. It's a miserable platform, primarily for you gamers and NFT people out there. Matt must have found CanadianResorts.com. Not bad. I don't know. Is there a thing like it's a hunting lodge? I don't mind it. I skipped over it. I did not see it on the list going forward. And let me see. Just party ideas seem to be an age domain going back 2000. Looking in the Wayback Machine. Do you recommend developing age domains to build on their links? To be quite honest, I don't necessarily care. I try to develop domain names without a concern over Google. Yes, Google is going to be the source of much of our traffic, but I hate Google. I don't want to spend time, money, effort thinking about Google when I buy something, which is exactly what that is going to do. Could it benefit you? Maybe. I'm sure it does. Sure it does. Should it matter to us? Probably not. And that's where I kind of fall. I fall on the side of I don't want it to matter. So I focus primarily, like almost entirely on a domain name and ignore the rest. And if there's bonus links and things like that, then so be it. Now, if I'm spending a lot of extra money or something like that, if it's a really expensive domain name, I will dive a little bit more into the Wayback Machine and what's been on the domain name in the past, mostly just to protect my investment more than find something more to it. So hopefully that is a little bit helpful. And I'm not sure what school is. I'll have to look at that. So reach out if anybody knows. I'm looking tribe.so. I've looked at a bunch of them, but I'm looking for a place that ideally we can have a content section and then a chat section. I like topical chat. I like it to be like hey, what do you think about this domain name? We talk about that domain name, thread, move it on, like a little bit more of a forum versus Discord, which is just like linear chronological chat. Just me though. Okay, thank you all for that. And I do want to build up a community. I thank you for being part of the community. Like, I love this stuff, and I love the fact that you love it too, and that you're willing to join me here most Mondays at 3 p.m. for Domain to Profit. It is a blast. Hopefully you found some good opportunities, if not this week, other weeks. Yeah. Isn't the Wallflowers, wasn't it a band? Wallflowers? Yeah. Maybe not. Don't buy it if it was a band, don't buy it. Oh, I guess I should share out my screen. You can see what I'm talking about now. Okay, so we're on to page 2 of the list. We'll try to get a few page downs into this to get an idea of what domain names we can jump into. My wife, Crystal, who's down in Cincinnati right now. I'm up in Columbus, a couple hours north of home. She says yes. I'm not entirely sure why she said that, but that's okay. I'll be getting a text later on. Okay, here we go. Hot Piggy. Kermit would be thrilled. Oh, Wallflowers are a band. Thank you. Yeah, it doesn't. The chat's so slow. It's a little bit behind. But yeah, they did the One Headlight, right? Or whatever that was. I like it. They're good stuff. I love my 90s music. Or are they 2000s? Local portals. I actually like this one a lot. Oh, okay. Well, here we go. Teaching opportunity, localportals.com. I clicked it and it shows up with this here, which is, we're sorry, but domain name you're looking for is no longer available. It happens because somebody renewed it. So the people that these are expiring domain names. That means that they are coming up for auction, assuming the person doesn't renew it. So they do get pulled, some more often than not. There we go. I liked it until I didn't anymore. I like local stuff, as you probably know. Like I like localization because it allows us to do the local Legion 300, where we just use the top 300 cities, the most populous 300 cities in the United States, which there's 314 or so that have over 100,000 people in them, which that means, I mean, you just need one customer per top 300 to get your first 300 customers, which is hard. It's still hard to do. I don't say that because it's easy. I say it because it's still hard. But I mean, it's a pretty good starter market, 300 customers. You still got to do the work. Still got to make a lot of calls, a lot of emails, a lot of conversations, a lot of learning and figuring things out. But if you're doing this because you think it's easy, you probably need to do something else. It's easy-ish. It's easy-ish. It's kind of easy. Portal Master, I don't like it as much. That's more of a brand, but it had portal in it. So portal, I just think of that as like a portal just being the doorway, the entry point to an industry. I will go ahead and give it a star. I'll maybe come back to that one after the show. I'll look at it later. But if you're interested in it, let me know. Come serve, cool. Come on, let's find something. I always feel like the second half drags on because we don't get as many good domain names. Then I'll get off the show. We'll be done with the show. I'll hit page down a couple of more times, and I always find like a great domain name that I wish I could bring to you. So I don't want that to happen here. We want to find something great here in business. If you haven't, make sure you hit like on the video. Make sure you subscribe if you've not subscribed. Someday I will do more impromptu videos, which I just don't do them right now. I just don't have much time, but I want to have more time. I want to do this. I love doing this. I love hanging out with you. I love looking through domain names. So I would love to do it more often. Thing is, they're business. Got to do all the work. Do we just whap through that? Whap? I don't know if that's the real way to say that. Lease debt? Okay, well, we just went right through that. Flexiblebuildings.com. Flexible Buildings. Let's find out what that is. Like, that sounds like a Drew type domain name. I love domain names I love things that are flexible. That's one of the things I love about domain names is the domain name, you can build anything you want to on it. Like there's so much, if you have a big imagination like me, like you can picture any number of different things on a domain name. Flexiblebuildings.com. I could see that being a website for companies and things that make buildings flexible. I love flex spaces. I love walls that move, curtains, dividers, things like that, to where a big space can be made into whatever kind of space you need. So flexible buildings could be along that line. Here's the thing, it's a brand. There's no advertisers, very little money being spent. We'll do the Control F and go Flexible Buildings. Yes, I have to do that in order to spell things right. And you'll see there's really nothing being highlighted. There's not much happening. So there's optimism and then there's reality. Ignition coil. Ignition coil, is that a thing? Is that a thing? Is it a thing? It's a thing. Oh, yeah. Anyhow. Impact dashboard, open your cloud. We're on page 3. We haven't hit page 3 in weeks. That page 2 went quick. I must have missed some stuff. Your traveler, if it was my traveler, pretty good, right? My travel would be great. Local home sales. Let's check that one out. Localhomesales.com ends in 5 days. $12 currently. Again, do not bid on the domain name. And here's what we're going to do. I'm probably making this more difficult than what I should. I'm just typing it. So I just got rid of the .com, put the keywords into SpyFu. 70 searches or 70 possible traffic. Man, this is like, I think we've been shut out on this down here. In weeks past, you'll see that often we find high cost per click and high advertiser domain names. We're just not getting them. They're just not showing up this week, which is the same with this one here. Local home sales, you can grab some public data. Home sales are typically public data through your county auditor. You can put that in, make it fancy, compete with Zillow in some way. It's essentially how Zillow does it, is they grab the county auditor data, and then they built their entire giant company off of that, off of parsing out county auditor data. So you want to compete with them, then go for it. Hack something together. Okay. Well, I think spa for men? I don't know. I like the domain name. I'm sure it's a thing. Probably more of an investable domain name. Let's go check out SpyFu real quick before I click on the spa for men. 360 searches. Okay, we're getting somewhere actually. See, I'm glad I typed on this. So here's what I like. Men's spa near me. I love seeing near me. You'll hear this often with me on the show. When you see near me in the domain, in the keywords, similar keywords, that's localization. That's people looking for something, but the local version of it. So spa for men near me, it's not actually showing up here like that. So if you can get this domain name for cheap, you can probably target these. You're gonna have to work harder than others, but spaformen.com sounds pretty good. I don't know how many spa for men there are, but if maybe there's 300, maybe there's one per city, major city, get them to do it. And right now, let's go ahead and click on that domain name. This might be our last domain name. Let's see, spa for men ends in 2 days, so it's cheap. So hopefully somebody on the show right now, one of the 20 or so people that are live with us in the community, maybe this is for you. If you're looking for that starter project, that first opportunity to develop a domain name, this could be it. Now, I'm guessing it's going to run you probably $700, maybe $900 to get this domain name. It's tough to say. Now, I would appraise the domain name based on these numbers. So I'm taking the monthly visitors from up here, and then I am looking down here at the advertisers and cost per, like realistically, based on just the numbers for the specific domain name, this domain name is a $400 domain name. It's really not going to get you there. But if it gives you access to this, access to several thousand people, then who knows? Like that could mean something. And I'm guessing this is a domain name that's increasing in trend. Let's go check that out real quick with trends. We don't get a chance to pull this up very often. Trends.google.com, as you can hopefully see in the browser there, spa for men. So what I'm doing here is I just want to see if we can spot a trend. Is this going up or is this going down? And really, for the most part, it actually looks like it's going down. It doesn't look like it's a thing. I see a downward trajectory here, which I would have actually expected a little, that it would have been increasing in traffic. That doesn't seem to be the case. So I don't know, $300 to $800 I could see it going for, but it could be a really good domain name for somebody that's just like, hey, let me try to buy a domain name that I can localize, find a few hundred people to be my customers, to feature their spas for men on it. Do you think the domain name, if you called them up and said, hey, I'm Drew with spaformen.com, and I'd love to feature your company on spaformen.com. Do you think that sounds like something they'd be interested in? I think so. That's going to get your foot in the door. From there, it's going to be up to you. So I think that works out. Let me run down a little bit of a summary here, talk about some of the domain names that we've looked at today. I loved stopanxiety.com. We also had Webventure.com. Not as big of a fan. Business Society. I don't know why I keep clicking on it to give you that summary. I don't really like it all that much. I do like partyidea.com. That one's ending in 6 days. Soundediting.com. Portalmaster.com. I have it up, but we didn't really talk about that one. That one's kind of something I was interested in. Flexiblebuildings.com. Localhomesales.com if you want to create something that competes with Google or competes with Zillow. And then Spa for Men, all pretty good domain names. I don't think we really hit a home run this week, but it's just how it kind of goes. There are certainly domain names a bit on this week. Opportunities have been found. The question is, are you going to be the one that pursues them and finds and pursues that opportunity? Domain names can 100% change your life. You can develop a domain name, create an income for yourself that can support your family or just give you a little extra spending money. Create the freedom, flexibility that you want for your life. It's worked for me. It can work for you. Well, community, I appreciate you all. I appreciate you all. So this is Domain to Profit. I am Drew Wash. I will see you back. I believe, fingers crossed, I'll be home court next week, back down in Cincinnati in my normal studio. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to just being around home. So, but until then, see you next week, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm Drew Wash. It's Domain to Profit. Thanks for hanging out with me. See you next week.